Hello, my name's Bianca and I'm 30 years old. The last year has been nothing short of a nightmare and I'm still recovering from everything. I've been lurking on here and seeing so many stories, so I thought I'd give this a go and share my story as well. My story begins with my ex-husband Shane. Now, I met Shane right after I graduated college. After graduating, I managed to get a pretty good position in a pretty famous company. Shane and I worked in the same department, and he was assigned to be my mentor. The more time we spent together, the closer we got. I found myself developing really big feelings for him. Turns out he felt the same way for me too. I was concerned about company policies, and I didn't know if Shane and I would be allowed to be together with each other, but our company was all good with it as long as we didn't let our relationship get in the way of the work, and we maintained an above-board relationship. We were glad to comply with those rules, and we started dating. Shane was an amazing and charming man, and he was nothing short of that during our relationship either. We dated for about 1.5 years before we decided to move in together. The thing is, I had my own house because my parents helped me buy it after I graduated. So Shane moved in with me and things were going pretty great. After about 3.5 years of dating, Shane proposed to me and I was more than happy to say yes. The thought of spending the rest of my life with him was something that brought me a lot of joy. We got married in a small, intimate ceremony 6 months after Shane proposed. Aside from our relationship, in my career, I was soaring. I was bringing in a lot of new clients, and as a result, I got a lot of bonuses and increments. I slowly began to realize that Shane was behaving oddly with me. But whenever I tried to talk to him about it, he brushed me off. After observing Shane a little more, I realized that he was just jealous that I was bringing him more money and that I was a little more successful than him. I was hurt and upset that Shane viewed me as some competition, but I figured that he couldn't help how he felt, so I decided to try and help him out at work. I give him some pointers and even help him fetch some new clients. He did not take that well, and he lashed out even more at me for demeaning him by telling him that he didn't know how to do his job. So I backed off and let him do his own thing. All of this happened about 1 year into our marriage, and after Shane lashed out at me, I spent the next few months just pouring myself into my work. Our boss had told us that there was a promotion up for grabs for anyone who would bring in the highest amount of clients. I wanted that promotion to make life even easier for Shane and me. One day I went to work, and at the end of my shift, my boss called me into his office and told me that I was given a promotion. I was overjoyed. I rushed home to tell Shane about it. Shane had the day off, so he had no idea about what happened. When I reached home, I was greeted with a good-looking meal. "How was work today, sweetie? I used my free time to make some lovely dinner." "Oh, that's really sweet. I do have some great news that we get to celebrate, so I bought us some good wine." "Whoa, that's an expensive bottle. Must be big news. Tell me." So today, right before work ended, I was called into the boss's room and he told me that I was getting a promotion. What? The big promotion that everyone's been wanting? Yeah, apparently I outperformed everyone. "Oh, we're going to be rolling in money, Shane." "Seriously? How did you outperform everyone?" "Well, I guess I just worked as hard as I could. I mean, you saw how much work I poured in these last few months. I was constantly exhausted for a reason, and I guess it just paid off." "Hold on. Are you jealous of me?" No, I'm not. I'm just a little bummed that I didn't get promoted." "Yeah, but does it really matter which of us gets promoted? We're both still reaping the benefits of it. My money is yours after all." "Sure, but it's not the same." "You cannot seriously be upset at me. I just wanted us to celebrate the one big accomplishment I've gotten. Can we please focus on that?" "You know what? You're right. Why don't we have an even bigger celebration than this?" "Huh? What do you mean?" "How about I throw you a huge party for your promotion, and we'll invite all our families and our colleagues and bosses?" "Are you sure? That sounds wonderful, but wouldn't that be like rubbing salt in your wound?" Nah, I'll be fine. Look at you worrying about me instead of celebrating. Besides, I think I have an idea for a great present to give you. Oh, what is it? I shall give it to you in front of everyone at the party. But for now, how about we have ourselves a nice dinner? I will admit that I was a little upset when Shane again let his emotions get in the way of him showing his appreciation for me, but he really turned himself around when he told me that he was going to celebrate with me. Over the next few weeks, Shane poured himself into planning a party for my promotion. I know that it's a bad thing that I was surprised that Shane was not behaving jealously, but I was just grateful that he was appreciating me for once. Shane spent a lot of time outside the house when he was planning my party. He told me that he could not contain his excitement about the party and that he wanted it to be a surprise, so he had been going over to his mother's place to talk to her about it. Now, Shane's mother, Wendy, and I had a pretty cordial relationship. We weren't super close, but she was a nice lady. On the day of the party, Shane told me that he was running a little late because he mistimed his surprise. But he sent me to the venue and had Wendy meet me there. I was genuinely floored when I entered the venue. It was a pretty big hall that was beautifully decorated. When I walked in, everyone clapped for me and I was congratulated by a lot of people. As I was talking to one of my colleagues, Wendy bumped into me and accidentally spilled her wine on me. I'm so sorry that I spilled on your dress. I'm so clumsy on my feet and I've been nervous about coming here for so long. Guess that made me spill on you. It's all okay, don't worry. I'll just have my assistant get me an extra dress. Wait, why don't you come to the side and let me see if I can do something? No, I don't think anything will help. Please, I feel really bad for what I did. At least let me try. Okay, fine. Okay, look, I pulled you aside because I needed to tell you something important. What? What do you mean? I need you to tell your security guards to prohibit my son's entry at all costs. What? Why? Shane has been upset that you've been getting so successful. He's been ranting to me about it for so long. Surely you noticed that he was constantly over at my place. Well, I knew that he was upset, but I didn't think he was upset because he was jealous. With every day that passed, his anger only grew. When you told him that you were getting a promotion, he lost his mind. Right, but why would he arrange this promotion party in the first place? Because he's planning to embarrass you in front of your boss and colleagues. How? He plans on bringing in some false documents and showing them to everyone to prove that you didn't deserve your promotion. Why would he be that jealous of me? Look, I have no idea. All I know is that he is one angry and jealous man. He will not stop at anything to get what he wants because he wants to be the one who's doing better. I tried my best to stop him today, but he refused to listen. Okay, I need time to process all this. I really get that, I do, but you need to inform your security guards to not let him in at all. Yeah, okay. Thank you for having my back. Of course, sweetie. I couldn't believe what Wendy was telling me, but deep down I knew that what she was saying made sense. Even though my heart was telling me not to listen to Wendy, my instincts were telling me otherwise, so I informed the security guards to not let Shane in. While I waited for Shane to probably call me and ask me why he was not being allowed in, I decided to snoop around a little and see if I could gather any evidence. I approached the man in charge of the projector and told him that I was with Shane. I told him that Shane asked me to go through what was to be projected, and he let me see what was on the USB that Shane had given him. Wendy was right. There were hundreds of fake documents that, if shown to my bosses, would put me under a lot of investigation and lead to suspension. Not to mention, I could have lost my job. I was furious. I kept the USB and told the man to forget about projecting anything else on the screen. After a little more hunting and asking around, I managed to find all the people that would help him, like servers and those in charge of the audio. I had them all write down and sign that they were hired by Shane to do something against me at my party. About an hour after Wendy warned me, Shane called me. Bianca, what the hell's going on here? What do you mean? I'm not being allowed in. Apparently security guards got strict instructions from you to not let me in. Yes. Why don't you head home and we can discuss things there? Why? I wanted to celebrate your big day with you. Look, I don't want to deal with you right now. I know what you've been up to and I really don't care enough to talk about this over the phone. Are you serious? Do you even know what you're doing? I definitely do. Go home, settle down your jealousy and insecurity. I knew that something was wrong and you refused to speak to me about it. I've had enough of you trying to steal my spotlight. You will pay for this later, but for now, I just want to have fun. What are you talking about? Why would I ever do something like that to you? I have heard about your plans, Shane. Who are you trusting more than me right now? Not to mention, I saw what you had planned on the USB that you had given the person who's working the projector. Wow, so you went snooping just to prove yourself right? Do you even have any trust in me? Oh, of course I did. But after tonight, any semblance of trust that I had in you has vanished. You can't blame me for it. It's not like you weren't rubbing my face in your accomplishments all the time. I wasn't rubbing your face in anything. I was just sharing my accomplishments with you because you are my husband. I'm sorry I expected you to share in my joy instead of getting jealous. If I did the same thing to you, you would have behaved the same way. I would at least talk to you about it. I would never try to publicly humiliate you or ruin your career. You know what? I actually don't want to see your face for a while. I will see you in a few days. Bianca, you will come back home as soon as your party's done, or so help me God. If you threaten me, I will never return. Bye. The very fact that Shane had the audacity to threaten me made me see red, but I calmed myself down and decided that I was going to enjoy my party regardless of the fact that it was all a ruse to start my downfall. I had a blast, and at the end of the night I went to Wendy's place. Of course Shane contacted her, but she told him to stay away from her for a little while and asked him to give me some space. Over the next week I filed for divorce and waited until I had the divorce papers to go back home. Once I had them, I went back home and was greeted by Shane. You're home finally. Don't try to act happy. I'm not acting. I really missed you and I wanted to apologize for my behavior. You think an apology is enough? Shane, you wanted to destroy my career and my reputation all because you were jealous and insecure. I was just not in the right headspace. That's not even a reasonable excuse. You have to understand that I was struggling a lot. You were being looked at for all the big projects and promotions, even though we were doing the same work. We may work in the same department, but there's a huge difference between our work. Are you saying that I'm not good at doing my job? You said it, not me. Maybe instead of targeting me, you should have thought about why I was getting looked at for everything. I didn't have to actually look at anything. You are a woman, and you were just using your vials to get whatever you wanted. Wow. Do you even know how much revenue I brought in just in the last 3 months? I brought in triple what you did. And I did all my business over emails and calls. How do you suppose I worked my feminine wiles, huh? You must have done some sort of trickery. There's no way that you did so much in so little time. There's a reason I wanted to expose you. Right. And you wanted to do that using fake documents. I couldn't find any actual records, so of course I had to fake some. There's no reason for you to be that much more successful than me. I had to take you down a peg. You really are a piece of work, you know. You were willing to put down the woman you love all because you let your insecurities get the best of you. They are not insecurities, and I'm not jealous. But you have no idea how embarrassing it is to have your wife earning more and being more successful than you. I've been the butt of jokes for so long. Who was making fun of you, Shane? Who? My friends, the ones I meet up with every other weekend. Wow, so instead of dropping your unsupportive friends, you decided to sabotage your loving and supportive wife. You know what? I can't keep doing this anymore. Here, I'm divorcing you. You can't leave me. I only made one mistake and I apologize for it. This one mistake of yours nearly cost my career and reputation. Not to mention, you didn't sound apologetic at all. You were just justifying your actions without even apologizing. You clearly still don't see anything wrong with what you did. Besides, you showed me where your priorities lie, and I'm not even a priority. I'm someone that you have to be better than. I don't think that's a healthy relationship, and I want nothing to do with you. You think this is over? I will ruin you for leaving me. Give it your best shot. I could not believe how dense Shane was. He really did not see why he was wrong and believed what he did was one small mistake. I grabbed my things again and made my way over to Wendy's house, but not before telling Shane he had a week to leave my home. I didn't care where he left, but he needed to be out. Of course, people at work figured that something was seriously wrong between Shane and I, so before the rumors started spreading, I decided to inform everyone that we were getting a divorce. I never told them the reason, but Shane decided that he wanted to ruin my reputation, so he began spewing lies about my morals. He told everyone that I had barred him from entering my party because I didn't want him to steal my spotlight, and that I was selfish and jealous. I did not actually plan on ruining Shane's career, but after what he did, I decided to just go ahead and show everyone proof of what he planned to do. I emailed our bosses in HR the documents he planned to show everyone, along with signed statements from those he hired to help him carry out his plan. I also informed them about the lies that Shane was spreading within the office that was leading to lesser productivity on my part, as well as the offices in general. It didn't take long for our bosses to make a decision about what was happening. The next working day, Shane was called into the boss's office and was fired. Nothing was funnier than watching him exit the office with his head down. I had an inkling that he lost his job, but I didn't know for certain. My confirmation came when Shane called me shortly after he left to yell at me. "What did you do?" "What do you mean?" "Don't try and act as if you don't know what I'm talking about. I know that you're the reason I lost my job." "You lost your job?" "Do not try and act innocent." "Well, I'm not confirming or denying anything to you, but you have to admit that there would have been a conflict of interest if you continued to work with us." "How dare you! I only attempted to ruin your career. I didn't actually do it. You didn't have to ruin mine." "If I remember correctly, didn't you threaten to ruin me for leaving you?" "I couldn't take my chances, so I protected myself." "So you did get me terminated?" "Well, not only were you a bad employee, but you were also actively harassing and planning the downfall of your colleague and wife. That violates all kinds of work ethics and does not represent the values of the company." "Don't throw me all that nonsense." "Well, let's just say that I was so upset with you trying to sabotage me that I got you fired. Maybe your tiny brain would be able to understand that." "But why? I did nothing wrong." "Right, but you could have. Nothing stopped you when we were happily married. So what would you have done when we got divorced? Wouldn't you have tried to do much worse things?" I just approached HR with my concerns, and when they had to make a decision between me and you, it wasn't really a hard one. "You've ruined my life. I will make you pay for it. I'll take you to court and make your pockets bleed dry." "Yeah, and I'm sure that the jury would love to see the evidence of you trying to sabotage my career because you were jealous." "Why, you... That's enough now. I'm tired of listening to you. Goodbye, and do not contact me unless it's through your lawyer if you're contesting the divorce." I was glad that I was able to get the exact reaction I wanted out of Shane that would teach him not to mess with anyone. Besides, I was not kidding when I said that his career in the company was dying anyway. I was just glad that I was the reason that he got thrown out. Shane did try to contest a divorce and try to get me to pay him alimony because he reasoned that I was the reason he lost his job. Well, I had both evidence of him trying to sabotage my job and statements from my bosses, colleagues, and his mother stating the same. Let's just say the jury definitely did not see the point in his argument. The divorce trials went on for a long time after it was ruled that I would not be paying him any alimony. The reason for that was Shane wanted to divide everything we owned down to our spoons and forks. I tried my best to level with him, but he was not having it. I didn't see why he was drawing it out so much, considering he was losing a lot of money himself. I was actually doing pretty great. Finally, I decided to settle and give everything that he wanted within reason. Of course, I still got to keep our house, considering it was my name on the deed and title, but for every other thing he wanted, including our bed, I gave it to him. I had more than enough money to afford new things anyway. By the time our divorce was finalized, Shane was pretty much destitute. He was couch surfing at multiple of his friends' places who eventually all grew tired of him when he stopped searching for jobs. Wendy refused to help him out, so he cussed her out until she had enough and blocked him everywhere. Eventually, when he realized that he had nowhere to go to, he came crying to me and begged me for help. I refused to help him out because I did not want to be entangled with any of his shenanigans ever again. Last I heard, he's crashing at his aunt's place and he finally found a job somewhere. As for me, I'm living a really good and comfortable life right now. Sure, I still feel pangs of sadness at what I lost with Shane, but I keep reminding myself that I wouldn't have such a good life if I still had Shane with me. I've been getting therapy to deal with my grief, loss and anger, and I can happily say that things are going well. Wendy had, of course, taken it upon herself to make up for her son's actions, but once I had a proper talk with her, she stopped doing that. Now she's become one of my closest friends and a mother figure to me. It'll be a long while before I trust a man again, but until then, I get to spoil myself and enjoy the best life that I can.